Nothing can propagate faster than the speed of light, though. Like, not even gravity. Like, if you were to magically make the sun disappear, we would continue to rotate for whatever 6 minutes or whatever. However, I don't think it takes 6 or 8 minutes, something like that, for the light to get from the sun to the earth. That's also how long it would take for the pull of gravity to release us.
What? I don't understand that at all. If it disappeared, why would there be remnant gravity for a no longer existing mass? I don't understand.
But it does. Nothing can move faster or propagate faster than the speed of light. No information cannot be transferred faster than the speed of light.
But I mean, if we're like spinning around the sun and the sun gets deleted in an instant, it seems like we would just soar rotating immediately into the chasm of space because there's no mass left to attract us.
No, it could literally disappear like magically, and we would continue to rotate around it in the same path and be drawn by it in the same way until the speed of light propagated, like whatever that is, 6 minutes or 8 minutes, or something like that. Let me see how fast light.
So we don't know the speed of gravity or how.
The speed of gravity is the speed of light. Exactly. It's 8 1/3 minutes. Yeah.
I always pictured gravity more as like it's tethering us to it. And so once that's severed, you would just like if you're spinning a ball on a string and you cut it, it would immediately just zoom, like go the direction of whatever it was currently perpendicular to.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, I believe you, but that doesn't make sense logically.
If the string was 100 light seconds long, then maybe it would take 100 light seconds for it to.
For the sake of simplicity, Woody, the string is 4 fathoms long. What a fucking cunt that guy is. For the sake of simplicity, fuck you. What a smarmy douche. I am not a fan of that guy. For the sake of simplicity. That's like a troll comment. What was that you read? Was that just like some guy online on like Science Today or something?
I was on physics.stackexchange.com.
Okay, physics is in the name. I don't know what Stack Exchange is, but I guess I trust the physics part.
It seemed like a bunch of smart people talking about hypotheticals. I don't know. I've never been to that site before. Just trying to understand Woody's question, because there's a lot of moving parts in Woody's question. You know, there's a lot of like lot of stuff to consider. It's always been a fun like thinker.
Yeah, I like that you watch all those videos because it occasionally brings up an interesting point about physics I don't get.
That's so
fascinating. And I just lean on your knowledge of whatever YouTube video you most recently watched.
Yeah,
I think damn. Well, I'm not interested enough in this to look into it, so I'm just going to trust exactly what Kyle just said.
Yeah, I find that stuff so fascinating. I love learning about how large the universe is, and when they start talking about the Fermi paradox and working from one like theory to the other, and it's like, all right, well, like if life began on Earth almost as soon as it could, like as soon as the Earth cooled off, life began. Essentially, they know that it was actually not cool. It was not cool enough that they think life should have began, and it still did. So the idea is like, all right, well, then life could have began billions of years in other star systems before our Earth was even here. So theoretically, the most advanced civilizations in the universe are billions of years more evolved than us, not millions or tens of millions of hundreds of millions. They could be 2 billion years ahead of us on the tech scale. And like by that regard, if they ever made those von Neumann machines, those self-replicating probes that would like sort of colonize the galaxy and like maybe go to every star system and just wait to see if somebody in that star system ever radios in, or maybe they just keep an eye on planets that might make life. They should already be out there. There should be some sort of probe in our solar system right now, waiting on, I don't know, us to go get it, like in Arthur C. Clarke's The Sentinel, which is what 2001 Space Odyssey is based on. That's what that's about. Is that's what those obelisks are? Those black rectangular things.
I don't think a hyper advanced space race would be benevolent enough to be like, we're going to put a little Easter egg near them and then they're going to find it and we're going to give them gifts and include them in the club. I think it would be like a ruthless conquering that we would be subject to.
Maybe, but what do they need? You know, the question would, when they're that advanced, like what do they need that we have? Because it'd be way easier to mine every material you can imagine from asteroids that don't have that huge gravity well. It's, you know, getting our rocket ships into space. I think they have to go 17,000 miles per hour just to get out of our atmosphere. It costs like $10,000 a pound or 10,000 a kilo to get stuff out of our atmosphere. But asteroids, they barely have any gravity, and they're made of everything. They're made of nickel and iron and gold and platinum.
They're zooting around really quick. But I guess if you're like
so is the Earth,
billion year,
they're not going.
But if they miss us, they'll be like, all right, we'll just wait.
Yeah, they can. I mean, we with our technology pull right up on asteroids and land and take samples and bring them back to Earth.
I guess that's true. Yeah, they could catch asteroids like a baseball if we can even kind of do that shit at a lower kind of primitive level.
We landed a spacecraft on an asteroid, took dirt samples. It like landed, grabbed, and then popped right back off and took off again and came back to Earth and dropped off those samples for us. And then they brought them to the CDC here in Atlanta and like opened the capsule up to see what was in there, like what those little bits and bobs were.
What I hope is that the US stays the most advanced in all the space stuff, and that we keep hoodwinking countries like the Netherlands with petrified wood. If they wanted real space stuff, then they can get on it. They can get on their horse. But until then, we're bamboozling your goofy asses, your wooden shoe wearing asses with petrified wood.
It's hard to say how that happened. That could have been some sort of a heist where a middleman in between did the switcheroo.
I like to think we just fucked with them.
Could have been, but we had we had hundreds of pounds of moon rocks we brought back. It seemed
we're
like
not donating that. They could be useful. We probably found out that it's not useful and like, these are just shitty rocks. There's a bunch of nothing in here. It's even worse than an Earth rock.
Yeah, the moon is covered with that stuff that they think would be good for fusion energy if they ever figure out how to do that. Is it helium-3 or something like that?
We'll never know because Elon's all obsessed with Mars. No interest in the moon.
The moon will have to be like a pit stop to Mars. You could build up all your stuff there.
He's even obsessed with. He's full of shit, Elon Musk, right? Like he just lies as much as he breathes. So when he's like, we're going to Mars, is he even serious about going to Mars?
Here's why I think he is. I remember there was an interview with Elon when he was first kicking off SpaceX. I think they interviewed Buzz Aldrin, one of the original Apollo astronauts, and they shit on Musk. They were like, a private organization will never be able to match the support of a nation. This has to be done by nations, the way I did it in the 60s. And Elon Musk, he's a flash in the pan. He won't have the stick-to-itiveness. And Elon, they played that clip to Elon in a Dateline interview, and he cried. He's like, Buzz Aldrin's like a hero of mine. So to hear that, this is really bothering you, isn't it? I've never heard him speak that way about what we do here. What we do here is so close to my. I feel like he's into the SpaceX thing. I really do. I think he legitimately wants to put people on Mars for whatever reason. I do believe that he wants it.
Seems like his biggest obsession, the space stuff.
He's got 5,000 of those satellites up now. 5,000.
Yeah. The Starlink. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It would be sick if that was like really, really good internet everywhere.
It is.
But I don't know a single person who has it personally, and so I haven't been able to check.
I know a couple people.
What do they say?
They're really happy. Yeah, most people that I know have it are either van lifers or like I have another pair of friends that are married with kids, and they live on top of a mountain. Like it's rocky. It'd be really challenging to run like coax cable for cable internet,
fiber, whatever.
Yeah, and they finally got the Starlink that they've been waiting for, and it's fast. It's good. Now, if they were gamers, they might be more critical, of the latency and such, or drop packets. But for regular people, it's amazing. You can watch your Netflix all you want.
Huh. That's cool then. I don't even know if it's available where I am, and I'm sure it's not as fast as the internet I currently have, but. Who knows?
Pretty fast.
Yeah, it's very.
Because they're just now putting like fiber around everywhere here.
Okay.
I don't know if it's as fast as that. If it is, and it's more cost effective.
It's 200 to 300 and occasionally 500 megabit.
Yeah, but the ping is like 120 if you're in the States.
Is that okay?
That sucks.
That's what this Reddit user says. He's like, I'm in Michigan. My ping's 100 to 120. So, online gaming. It causes issues, but if you're just everything else, Netflix, all the other uses you might have for a broadband connection, it's the thing.
The ping is because it's so far away.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
takes a while. Well, one, there's more hops. Every time you go from like router to router and read, like sort of look at what that packet is, figure out where it's going and send it in the right direction, that slows it down a little bit.
Mhm.
And then in terms of like just going to space and back, like that adds time also. So what Elon did, which is better than what existed before Elon, is he has lower satellites. So if you could imagine a point looking at a sphere, if that point is close to the Earth, it doesn't see to the edges of the sphere. If you put it far enough away, you can damn near see the equator. So Elon has low satellites, but it takes 5,000 of them. Whereas maybe it's Hughes has much higher satellites, but it takes fewer of them. But the downside of that is the latency is even worse because it travels to fucking Mars and back. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
Whereas Elon has more satellites lower for better service and maybe cheaper deployment. But I made that part up. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what he's done is incredible. Like that Starlink thing is going to have so many uses going forward. Like it's the war in Ukraine is on the back of Starlink. Like the way that they communicate and navigate and coordinate is Starlink required. I think a lot of their because of all the jamming and stuff with the drones, some of the drones have like they get you the drone flies by itself with Starlink 95% of the way to the target, and then an operator takes over at the end. Like that thing is so cool. I've heard them talk about the pollution of the our atmosphere, having all that space junk up there. China's the worst at that, though. I want to say they blew up a satellite like 5 or 6 years ago, and then they were like, it created 18 million pieces of like wreckage, and it was the worst moment of atmospheric pollution of all time. The Chinese suck.
Yeah, I'm way out of my depth here, but my suspicion is that people who complain about Musk's space junk like to complain about Musk. I like to complain about Musk, but I try to be accurate and right, and like I'm not fussing about his space junk.
Some of them
I
are
fuss about his self-driving cars still not meeting expectations 15 years later.
Some of them are astronomers. They do those sky audits or whatever they call them. They're looking for they take one shot and then they compare it to a shot 10 minutes later to look for objects that have moved or are moving. And if there's all that junk up there, it can fuck with that visual kind of science.